Vice-Chancellor, fellow council members, staff of the university, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It's customary for the university and its guests to gather as a body for the purpose of conferring academic awards on its graduates. To members of a university, a ceremony for the conferring of awards is a particularly important and happy occasion in the university year. To all of you, I extend a warm welcome. To diplomats, graduands and graduates, I offer congratulations and best wishes. Today we've gathered in order that awards may be conferred on those who have satisfied the Council of the University that they have met the requirements for admission to awards undertaken in the university's faculties. The university's mission commits it to the provision of quality education, research training and service in partnership with industry, commerce and the community, regionally, nationally and internationally, and is committed to the continuous improvement and review of all that it does. The university's record of achievement, particularly in research, is outstanding. Last year, the university ranked 9th out of the 36 public universities in Australia in terms of research grant income. This places it higher in the research league table than a number of the so-called sandstone universities. It is an exceptional performance and reflects the quality of research being conducted by the university staff. Also last year, the university was successful in winning 2 new special research centres out of the 8 which were established. This too is an exceptional achievement for the university and for its academic staff. The university has also been very successful in winning funding for an Indigenous higher education centre, Umaliko. This research centre is only one of 5 to have been established at an Australian university and is the only one located on the eastern seaboard. These achievements are also significant because there is a synergistic relationship between teaching and research. Good research and research outcomes feeds into and informs the content and the currency of teaching. Graduates of the University of Newcastle can therefore be confident that the curriculum that they have studied reflects world's best practice and cutting-edge technologies. Education today is about the acquisition of lifelong learning skills. Today, for everybody who's graduating, is a beginning, not an end. I believe that the awards to be conferred upon our diplomats and graduates today will qualify them to make significant contributions in the local, national and for some in the international community. Lastly, I take this opportunity to remind those receiving their testaments today that as diplomats and graduates of the university, you automatically become members of convocation. You thus join some 45,000 other graduates and have an opportunity through elected representatives to become involved in the governance of the university. Through convocation, you will also be kept informed of activities and developments at the university. By the authority conferred upon me by the Council, I will now formally confer academic awards. Will all candidates for admission to degrees and other awards please stand? In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I confer the awards specified in the program on all those graduates and diplomats who are present today and in absentia on those unable to be present. Sit. I now call on the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Economics and Commerce to present diplomats and graduates from that faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you candidates who have satisfied the requirements for the award of the Diploma in Computing Studies. Andrew Keevers. Richard Thomas. Belinda Allwood. Kylie Argent. John Barnett. Alison Benson. Alexander Cameron. Adam Charlton. Sui Cheong. Diraj Chowdhury. Rowan Fisher. Therese Impey. Adrian Kendall. Kari McCann. L. McRoberts. Donna Obradovic. Joanne Ort. Kelly Reeves. Mandy Richards. Andrew Sarich. Rachel Sedman. Cherie Skillicorn. Matthew Taylor. Michael Townsend. Quan Hon Tran. Nicole Walk. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Commerce. Christopher Adamson. Nicole Batistessa. Andrew Bendeek. Michael Briodi. Rodney Brown. Patricia Burney. Wei Ling Chen. Siu Jin Cheong. Christopher Davis. Mark Davison. Terence Daverin. Brian Doherty. Tricia Fletcher. Alison Fogg. Simone Graves. Leah Haddon. Tracy Chin Wen Ho. Julianne Hobson. Neil Howland. Scott Hungerford. Kirsty Jolly. Jonathan Karlovsky. Catherine Kellynack. Renee Kemp. Chi Ong Richard Kaur. Siu Chu Kaur. Mark Klassen. Timothy Neath. Marcus Laws. Keith Lehman. Danny Liu. Julie Mayvey. Thomas Main. Alan McKelvey. Jason Menzies. Kerry Mills. Scott Morgan. Fiona Napoli. Conchetta Palozza. Suzanne Park. Paul Seng Choi Fang. Darren Pollock. Colleen Ray. Rachel Redding. Ian Sanson. Andrew Steele. Gabriela Stoyanovsky. Christopher Sullivan. Wei C. Elaine Tay. Chin Siang Teo. Gregory Watts. Francis Whitehead. Craig Wilson. Martin Woods. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Economics. Matthew Bruce. Yu Lam Cheong. Eric Hu. Nicholas Jack. April May Kerr. Christina Nicoletatos. Alan Partington. Luke Reedman. Julie Sargent. Hong Quang Tan. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Information Science, Philip Williams. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Law and Administration, Philip Shaw. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Certificate in Business Administration, Osa Hasum Tanara. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Economic Studies, Luke Davies. Michael Kay. My apologies, Chancellor, there has been a movement. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Information Science, Michael Kay. Chancellor, I present to you candidates who have satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Management, Anthony Dockrell. Chris Salen. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Master of Business Administration, Lynn Graham. Annette Korikich. Kavita Payal. Glenn Thornton. Gregory Tilden. Sharad Tayaji. Michael White. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Master of Business Administration with merit, Andrew Cannon. Kevin Reich. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Economics and Commerce.
I now call on the Dean of the Faculty of Engineering to present graduates from that faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Computer Science, Joyce Lang. Jenny Oyong. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering, Civil, Rashad Ali. Ken Jones. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Civil with Honours Class 2, Division 2, Michael Dix. John Rutter. Mitchell Stace. Mark Stevenson. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Civil with Honours Class 2, Division 1, Robert Dix. Lisa Parsons. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Civil with Honours Class 1, Ashley Griffith. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Electrical, Skandarubor Azaralingam. Grant Miller. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Environmental, Jeremy Silk. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Environmental with Honours Class 2, Division 2, Timothy Brown. Chancellor, I present you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Environmental with Honours Class 1, Timothy Oliver. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical, Dusko Peric. Samir Seferovic. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical with Honours Class 2, Division 2, Michael Newman. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering Mechanical with Honours Class 1, Tyrone Smith. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Computer Science, Paul Collins. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Engineering.
And I call on the Dean of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences to present graduates from that faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Applied Science, Consumer Science, Glenn Bible. Susan Desane. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Health Science, Occupational Therapy, Natasha Atkinson. Peter Parsons. Sharon Skelton. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Health Science, Women's Health, Kristen Wiltshire. Chancellor, I present to you a candidate who has satisfied the requirements for the award of the Graduate Diploma in Health Social Sciences, Malcolm Ray. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Master of Medical Science in Health Promotion, Beverly Arnold. Cheryl Titheridge. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of graduates from the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences.
I call on the Deputy Vice-Chancellor Research to present research higher degree candidates.
Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Master of Computer Science. I present to you Lachlan Weatherall, Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Engineering from the University of New South Wales. Mr. Weatherall's thesis is entitled Computing Voronoi Diagrams on a Reconfigurational Mess. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Master of Engineering. I present to you Goran Simundik, Bachelor of Civil Engineering from Sarajevo University. Mr. Simundik's thesis is entitled Diaphragm Walls. Congratulations. Welcome back. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Master of Medical Science, Clinical Epidemiology. I present to you Susan Darzens, Bachelor of Applied Science from the South Australian Institute of Technology. Ms. Darzens' thesis is entitled Factors that Influence Heavy Industry Workers to Use Back Protection Behaviour. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Master of Medical Science, Health Promotion. I present to you Pauline Chiarelli, Graduate Diploma of Health Social Science of this university. Ms. Chiarelli's thesis is entitled Incontinence During Pregnancy, Prevalence and Opportunities for Continence Promotion. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Master of Medical Statistics. I present to you David Sibrit, Bachelor of Mathematics of this university. Mr. Sibrit's thesis is entitled A Statistical Evaluation of the Unplanned Readmission Clinical Indicator for use as a quality monitoring tool in public hospitals. Chancellor, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to a graduate who has successfully completed a prescribed program of study, principally of research. A thesis embodying the outcomes of the research is the principal basis of examination. The degree is only awarded if the thesis makes a significant and original contribution to knowledge and understanding of the field of knowledge with which it is concerned. Today, the University is proud to honour Doctor of Philosophy graduates who have satisfied these rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Chancellor, I present to you Christopher Wallace, Bachelor of Economics at this university. Dr. Wallace's thesis is entitled Strategies for Profit and Growth within the Australian General Insurance Industry, the Role of Price as a Strategic Variable. Chancellor, I present to you David Birch, Bachelor of Engineering of this university. Dr. Birch's thesis is entitled Aspects of Impeller and Sparger Design for Multi-Phase Mixing in Agitated Vessels. Chancellor, I present to you Hamid Reza Rezai, Master of Engineering from the Sharif University of Technology, Tehran. Dr. Rezai's thesis is entitled The Radiative Properties of Ash Deposits in Pulverised Fuel-Fired Furnaces. Chancellor, I present to you Brendan Burgo, Bachelor of Engineering of this university. Dr. Burgo's thesis is entitled Pipe Network Hydraulic Analysis Using Network Linear Programming. Chancellor, I present to you Richard Mazzaferri, Bachelor of Engineering of this university. Dr. Mazzaferri's thesis is entitled Defect-Tolerant Reconfiguration Networks for Parallel Processing Meshes. Chancellor, I present to you Joan Bryan, Bachelor of Science of this university. Dr. Bryan's thesis is entitled The Characterisation of Murine NC 1.1 plus Natural Cytotoxic NC Cells. Chancellor, I present to you Peter S. Darzens, Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery from Flinders University. Dr. Darzens' thesis is entitled Age-Related Macular Degeneration in the Newcastle region, a profile of those affected and sunlight as a possible aetological factor. Chancellor, I present to you Philip Hazel, Bachelor of Medical Science, Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery from the University of Otago. Dr. Hazel's thesis is entitled Effortful and Automatic Mental Processes in Attention Deficit Hyperactivity Disorder and Related Disorders. Chancellor, I present to you Rosetta Martinello, Bachelor of Science of this university. Dr. Martinello's thesis is entitled Murine LY6C plus Natural TNT Cells, Morphology, Phenotype, Cytotoxic Function and their role in tumour immune surveillance. Chancellor, I present to you Rosemary Warden, Bachelor of Science from the University of Sydney and Master of Health Personnel Education from the University of New South Wales. Dr. Warden's thesis is entitled Vitamin A Deficiency and Intestinal Structure and Function of the Rat. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of research higher degree candidates. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Doctor of Medicine. The degree of Doctor of Medicine is awarded to a candidate who has conducted research and published research findings which significantly extend the frontiers of knowledge in his or her chosen field of expertise. The candidate is required to present for external examination an extended discourse describing the themes of the published works and the relationships between them, together with a description of aspects of the advanced study which are supported by the published works. Today, the University is proud to honour a Doctor of Medicine graduate who has made such a distinguished contribution to his branch of learning. Chancellor, I present to you Emeritus Professor David Gordon Stewart Christie, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery from the University of Queensland, Doctor of Medicine from the University of London. Professor Christie's submission is entitled An Epidemiologically Odyssey, 1968 to 1997. It is comprised of 50 published papers spanning almost 30 years of research and teaching in epidemiology. The populations studied range from London civil servants to New South Wales coal miners. The research topics included areas as disparate as stroke, cancer and accident rates in industry. This collection summarises a professional lifetime in health-related, population-based research. Chancellor, I have pleasure in presenting to you David Gordon Stewart Christie for admission to the degree of Doctor of Medicine.
Congratulations.
Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of higher doctoral candidates.
I now call upon the Vice-Chancellor to present a candidate for an honorary degree.
Chancellor, I have pleasure in presenting to you Emeritus Professor Geoffrey Milton Kellerman for admission to the degree of Doctor of Medicine honoris causa. Chancellor, Geoffrey Kellerman, Emeritus Professor of Medical Biochemistry in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences, is a distinguished scholar, educator and administrator. His outstanding academic capabilities were evident from the commencement of his medical training. At the University of Sydney, he gained the double distinction of having achieved the degree of Bachelor of Science in Physiology and a medical degree, both with first-class honours. Each of these academic awards earned Geoffrey Kellerman a university medal. After completing clinical experience at Royal Prince Alfred Hospital, Geoffrey Kellerman embarked on a career of research and teaching in biochemistry in the field of cellular biochemistry. Between 1953 and 1957, Geoffrey Kellerman won a research fellowship from the National Health and Medical Research Council. This was followed by travelling research fellowships from the Nuffield Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation. The first of these he spent at the Department of Chemical Pathology, King's College London, and the second with the Department of Medicine, College of Physicians and Surgeons at New York. Upon his return to Australia, Geoffrey Kellerman became the Associate Director of the Clinical Research Unit of the Royal Prince Alfred Hospital. Professor Kellerman's distinguished academic career began with his appointment to the position of Associate Professor of Biochemistry at Monash University in 1967. He also spent a period as visiting Associate Professor at the Rockefeller University in New York. In 1976, he accepted the Foundation Chair of Medical Biochemistry in the new Faculty of Medicine at the University of Newcastle. In this role, he served the university and in particular his students with scholarship, leadership and distinction. Professor Kellerman's experience prepared him ideally for the aims of the new faculty, to integrate the teaching of basic and clinical sciences and to base this upon a rigorous discipline of research. He was a valued teacher of undergraduates and made a special commitment to regular visits to students in their postings in our many rural teaching hospitals. Many of their supervising clinicians have been themselves his pupils. In 1976, he was appointed Deputy Dean of the faculty with special responsibility for laboratory development and management. He held this role by invitation until his retirement in 1994. For 2 critical years, 1982 and 1983, following the untimely death of the Foundation Dean, Professor Madison, Professor Kellerman was appointed Dean. This was a vulnerable time for the faculty, with the first student class 1 year from graduation. The role he played in leading the faculty through that difficult time was one amongst many recognised by his later appointment as an Officer of the Order of Australia. Professor Kellerman's contribution to the university extended beyond the Faculty of Medicine. His contributions included membership of the University Council. He also served as Dean of Research and Chair of the Senate Research Committee. Outside the university, Professor Kellerman has made a multitude of contributions as member or chair of a number of community bodies. These include being a member and deputy chairman of the board of the Newcastle Mater Misericordia Hospital, a member of the New South Wales Department of Health Research Advisory Committee, the National Health and Medical Research Council Regional Grants Interview Committee, including a period as chair, membership of the New South Wales State Cancer Council, the board of the Royal Newcastle Hospital, the Scientific Advisory Committee, the Jenny Leukemia Trust, the Garvan Institute and Board of Governors Heart Research Institute. Professor Kellerman has been a member and president of the Newcastle Businessmen's Club and a chair of the Red Shield Appeal for the Salvation Army. He took a direct health service role in pathology, extending links through his membership of many professional associations and royal colleges. Internationally, he still teaches regularly in Asia, especially in Vietnam and Thailand, supporting our Centre for Clinical Epidemiology and Biostatistics. His extensive publication record spans the length of his professional career. Professor Kellerman has been a generous and perceptive teacher and mentor to 2 generations of scientists and medical practitioners. He continues to be held in high regard and with warm affection by his former students. Chancellor, it is with great pleasure that I present to you Geoffrey Milton Kellerman, Officer of the Order of Australia, Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery and Master of Science of the University of Sydney, Fellow, Australian Association of Clinical Biochemists, Fellow, Royal Australasian College of Physicians, and Fellow, Royal College of Pathologists of Australasia for the degree of Doctor of Medicine, honoris causa.
By the authority delegated in me by the Council, I hereby admit Geoffrey Kellerman to the degree of Doctor of Medicine honoris causa. We will now have a musical interlude presented by the Faculty of Music Clarinet Quartet, Fantasia by Paul Harvey. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please welcome our occasional speaker, Emeritus Professor Geoffrey Kellerman.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Council members and staff of the University, graduands, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. I am most sensible of the honour bestowed on me today by the University and of the opportunity to deliver this occasional address. I'm not using the word occasional in its everyday meaning of sometimes, but in the other sense of on a special occasion. It is certainly a special occasion for me, marking the end of a life devoted to my chosen career. It is also special for our graduates, for most of whom it marks the beginning of theirs. I've given a lot of thought to whom I should direct my remarks. I've been present at occasional addresses too numerous to remember in detail, and I suspect that one clear message to one group of people is all that can be accomplished. There are so many other competing ideas around on a day like this that is so emotional for so many of you. So my message is, take the future seriously. I shall not therefore speak mainly to my present and former colleagues who are sitting behind me here. They've heard everything worthwhile that I have to say already, and lots that wasn't worthwhile. Equally, I hesitate to direct my remarks mainly to the graduates. They've experienced so many hundreds of hours of being talked at recently that they must have developed an efficient filter in their brains to cut out most of what's said to them. Otherwise, they would never be able to develop their own ways of thinking. So I've decided to direct my remarks mostly to the general community, represented here today by the families and friends of the graduates. You are representatives of the wider community on whom we depend for support for ourselves as we grow up, support for our university as it develops our minds towards independent function, and support for all those products of the university that are more than the mere training of the next generation of professional people. I now wish, in spite of the formality of this occasion, to make use of 3 four-letter words, not really acceptable in much of what passes for polite society, even in these free and easy times. These 3 words are plan, long term. For some people, and our economics and commerce graduates and staff can probably justify it, planning cannot go past the next pension cheque. This is because of the differences in income that exist in our community, perhaps along with inappropriate priorities in the spending of that income. For other people, and our engineering graduates, and even more architects if they were here could appreciate it, plans must often be made for centuries. Such plans result in construction of such lasting wonders as the interior and the spire of Salisbury Cathedral, the stained glass windows of Saint-Chapelle in Paris, the Arena in Verona, the rice terraces in Banawi, and the Great Wall of China. However, many things are planned only for decades, or even for a year, as we see in the profusion of unnecessary trivial alterations in car shapes in the so-called new models. To my mind, one of the most threatening of our planning problems is in the political field, where long-term planning seems to mean to many of us until the start of the next election campaign, which sets a limit of about 18 months in our 3-year federal system. I shall be 70 in January, and I began reading about biology and biochemistry when I was about 10. I have therefore had the great privilege of watching for some 60 years the rapid developments of knowledge in these areas and of the application of that knowledge to our health and well-being. There is no place in this scheme for short-term thinking. As a horrible example of the latter, so familiar to our economics and commerce graduates, I could mention the monthly balance of payments or similar monthly figures, which are so much influenced by minor fluctuations of rainfall, of industrial disputes, of equipment breakdowns, or chance large orders in imports and exports. Certainly this gives rise to a whole army of commentators and analysts who would otherwise have to do an honest day's work, and perhaps diminishes the unemployment rate, but it is no substitute for the proper analysis of long-term trends. So it is with most forms of real progress. The universities are one of the last bastions of long-term thinking in our community. We are in the knowledge business at a moderate to high level, spanning the transition from school to proper adult life. Our justification for existence is based on service to our community in two major roles, education and research, which are connected like the two sides of a coin. First, let us consider the role of educating the next generation, seen here in front of me in their ceremonial dress at one of the most obvious transition phases in their long development from infancy to independent, responsible adulthood. You've heard the infants in this hall up there. They don't think past the next meal or a dry nappy. We could mention the quotation from Corinthians. When I was a child, I spoke as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. Our graduates have certainly left childhood behind, except perhaps at tonight's graduation parties, and have mostly reached the end of their formal education. They will need, however, on-the-job, continuing input for the rest of their working lives. And I emphasise that people today are in a much harder role perhaps than we had when we were your age, because things are moving so much faster that you have to work much harder to keep up. In many cases, the university can contribute to this updating by informal or formal means. Some of today's graduates have indeed undertaken formal higher degrees, and you'll hear about their fields of study later on this afternoon. Actually, you've heard them already. This is to fit themselves better for the more complex roles into which their careers have moved. Our community has unfortunately many shallow, short-term thinkers. Some of them revel in the 3-year political cycle, with the option of calling an early election when the entrails of a goat or some other equally unreliable index appear propitious. Such people are especially worrying when the educational role of the university, often inaccurately referred to as the teaching role, is the major or even the only one they recognise, count, and more importantly, fund. It certainly is a critical role. A community cannot progress or even hold its own in a competitive world if our new generation does not acquire the means to exploit the current body of knowledge to its best advantage, and also if it does not acquire the skills of accessing new knowledge as it becomes available and of incorporating this into its way of life. It's these two latter skills that make to me the difference between teaching and education, and they make the essential link between the education and the research functions of the university. So coming to the research function, that is adding to the body of world knowledge. There are people in all walks of life, including unfortunately some with political power, who do not really understand that research is not an activity that can be simply planned and directed to achieve a specific outcome in a defined time. We can think of a sort of pool of knowledge arising from basic research in all sorts of areas. It's possible to dip into this pool and find useful information to solve a specific practical problem. Without the pool of basic knowledge, we may not have what is needed to solve that problem. Without the interest and the relevance to the practical problem, the results in the pool are unused. So there's a real ongoing interaction between basic and practical or applied research, and familiarity with the pool, which arises from participation in the growth, can help enormously with the applications. The alternative is to buy it all from someone else at a high price, the value having been added by other people, and our country is already 200 billion in the red. During my 60 years in biology and medicine, I've seen a vast number of developments and improvements. There is the extension of our lifespan, and often its quality, almost total abolition of some diseases, development of completely new classes of drugs, and so on. Almost none of this came out of the blue or as a specifically planned exercise, and I emphasise that almost none of it was quick. Progress has been achieved by a combination of the results of laboratory and behavioural and sociological research, often performed for an entirely different interest and recognised for its importance after the results came in. Sometimes a very extensive and expensive program has yielded a planned outcome, as we have seen with the polio vaccine. Some of you are old enough to remember that. but an even longer and more expensive campaign to develop a malaria vaccine before the organism becomes resistant to all of our available drugs has not yet had any practical success, and so many thousands or millions will still suffer and die from this disease. Much of our treatment of high blood cholesterol today has the aim of trying to diminish the number of heart attacks. This work can be traced back to experiments in the 1950s that showed that certain bacteria grew in test tubes only when they were supplied with a soup containing distillers' dried solubles, whatever they are. It took many years to work out what the important constituent of this soup was, and still more to extend this knowledge to our heart problem. I had the privilege of working for 6 months in the laboratory of one of the key figures in cholesterol synthesis in 1961, and he got the Nobel Prize a few years later. This was towards the beginning of that odyssey that has led us to the current use of the so-called statin drugs for certain types of heart disease, and I'm sure certain of you in this room are taking them at the moment. As another example of a chance discovery that has revolutionised thinking, it was found some 30 years ago that certain beetles would grow and breed in laboratories in Europe, but the same beetles would not grow and breed in laboratories in the United States, even though everything was made exactly the same in both sets of laboratories, even to the extent of swapping staff members across the Atlantic to make sure they did the same thing the same way. This was traced to certain ultra-micro constituents of filter paper manufactured in the two countries from the local pine trees. This work led us to a whole set of potential insecticides of great specificity based on the so-called juvenile hormones of those insects. I think some anti-flea preparations on the market exploit this principle, but neither of the sets of researchers was worried about fleas. It may seem wasteful on superficial examination to encourage research without a clear idea of what it is to achieve for us all. But unless we add to the pool of basic understanding, there will be less chance of pulling practically useful pieces out of it. Unless we, as staff members, are involved in research and pass on our understanding of its methods and its recording and its accession to our students, they will not obtain the necessary judgment and skills to use the new information for the rest of their lives. To benefit our community fully from the research pool, our country needs to do its own applied research as well, and to exploit it in the marketplace, an area receiving far less support here than overseas. Almost no one hesitates to take a lottery ticket, even though there is no guarantee of winning. But some people do get the big prizes. So it is with research. You have to be in to win. So, community representatives here present, let me exhort you to think clearly through the problems of long-term planning. Let me emphasise the need for proper support of all forms of education and research, basic and applied. Let me encourage you more than anything else to avoid the notion of the quick fix in matters that determine the fate of our whole country now, for the next generation, and even beyond that. And just to repeat, take the future seriously. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Kellerman, for that inspiring address. Plan long term, wise words. For all of us here today, I suppose today is the beginning, not the end. It's a long path ahead. Those who are basically able to handle the problem of learning continuously and being able to cope flexibly with rapid changes that we see coming at us have the best chance for success in this long-term plan. Thank you very much again, sir. I now have great pleasure in inviting Tyrone Smith to speak on behalf of the graduates.
Good afternoon, Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, academic staff, distinguished guests, fellow graduates and our faithful supporters. It's hard to believe that the day has finally arrived, the day that when we actually have that stamped piece of paper in our hot little hands. I must admit that throughout my time at university, I regarded the trials and tribulations of uni, the late nights, the sometimes difficult group sessions, and the painstaking research as a means to an end. That piece of paper, our testimony, was a ticket to a career, a doorway to the profession I wanted to pursue, a hurdle that could not be ducked or circumnavigated, but squarely jumped to get where I wanted to go. That testimony was evidence of my ability and was the validation I needed to apply it. Now that I've completed my degree, I think a little differently. In retrospect, university is not simply a means to an end, nor is it an end in itself. It is part of the journey called life. As those popular merchants of lifestyle, Harley Davidson, say, it's the journey that matters, not the destination. People often think that university is where you acquire knowledge, just as you acquire groceries at the supermarket or parking tickets in the university parking lot. University is not merely a vast repository of knowledge with such sufficient exposure will seep through the skin and become ingested in the brain. University is an experience which one can either learn from or not, depending on whether we are prepared to engage ourselves. It is said that the difference between secondary school and university is that university teaches you how to think rather than what to think. Let's face it, in this age of information, if we think we can actually store a fraction of the entire body of knowledge about our chosen area of interest, then we're really having a lend of ourselves. University gives us the tools to access the relevant information and the mental frameworks to apply it in a meaningful and insightful way. I remember often lamenting, as many could relate, particularly in the wee hours of the morning whilst nutting out a major assignment. How is all this stuff going to help me in later life? I failed to see the value in something that I could not see a direct application for. Can you remember the last time you had to use an imaginary number? However, what I was forgetting was the intrinsic value of the process of learning. What we all gained from these many assignments and tests was an understanding of the fundamental principles, a problem-based approach to learning. This is far more beneficial to our process of future learning than simply amassing a great store of knowledge and relying on our memory to seek out that little piece of information if and when we need it. I, like a few others here today, was a member of that relatively small group known as part-timers. Yes, we were those people who'd often rush into lectures, looking dishevelled, often running late, trying to put that bad day at work behind us. In 1990, I embarked on this new lifestyle, leaving the comfy realms of high school to start my engineering degree and my career with BHP. Many of my friends attending university full-time would jibe me about the long hours, having to work during semester breaks, and missing out on the university lifestyle. On many occasions I pondered these points, trying to discern if part-time attendance was really worth it. Often these times of pondering would be when one of my favourite bands was playing the lunchtime set at the college bar, or the night before the due date for a major assignment and work commitments had limited my available time. I, like some other part-timers that I spoke to, felt that in some way we were not exposed to the full scope of university life. The conclusion I came to, however, was that part-time attendance is an opportunity to relish. Employment as a trainee whilst completing my degree provided the invaluable experience that is essential in order to make complete use of the vast array of information we obtain at the university. Concepts and principles seem easier to understand whilst being exposed to them in a practical nature during my working hours. The commitment that is needed to complete a university degree is the same commitment that is needed to persevere with problems encountered every day in our chosen vocation. The ability to break the problem down to its component parts and understand how it functions within the system as a whole is a way of thinking that is essential for all of us here today. Often we don't realise it at the time, but university gives you the conditioning needed to make a difference. In this ever more competitive world, it's this tenacity and the ability to see the wood from the trees that sets exceptional people apart from the mediocre. On behalf of my fellow graduates from the faculties of Economics and Commerce, Engineering and Medicine and Health, I extend our appreciation to those who have shared our university experience and who fill this auditorium today, the educators, our families and our friends. I thank you for your support and the role that you have played in bringing us to this graduation ceremony. You have been our coaches, our critics, our counsellors, creditors, sounding boards and sympathisers. But above all, you have been our greatest supporters. On a parting note, I'll leave you with a thought from Voltaire. An explorer may never discover new lands until he has the courage to lose sight of the shore. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith, for that speech. Ladies and gentlemen, I now declare this ceremony concluded. May I invite all present to join us for refreshments, which will be provided by the University Union and served in the Brennan Room, University Union.